All right, Connor, what's going on? It's big episode of Definitely the Experts, episode 60. You got 60 minutes to convince me to buy an Xbox. Go.
Well,
Also, what's up? How you doing, Connor?
I'm great. Can definitely get you. I don't know if I can get you on the Xbox train. I'm not going to try to. Well,
I appreciate that. Actually, I was looking at buying, and I probably should have pulled the trigger a couple days ago. Getting NCAA Football 2005 for the GameCube.
Wow. You didn't?
No, I didn't do it. I should.
You should. Do it. I dare you.
I'll do it now.
Do it right now.
All right.
How much does it cost?
Well, it depends. It depends where you get it. I've seen it range from anywhere from a new copy of it for like $60 to a used copy for like 10. I was hoping for 5, but let's go to eBay. Yeah, so not a whole lot going on in the old sportsaroo world. What with a virus and all. I guess the only really thing to talk about is there's just an update to our conversation from last week about free agency. A couple more signings in the last week, but nothing major. Nothing like there's a major flurry. Free agency opened up right away, but still some signings happening nonetheless.
Yeah, a couple of things happened. I mean, this week Cam Newton was released by the Panthers, so that was interesting for a couple of reasons. Namely, that the teams that were kind of looking for quarterback play or to sign a veteran quarterback, there were a few teams that were in contention for that, and they all kind of missed the boat, I guess, on that because he was released and people could have picked him up for nothing. A lot of people, well, I don't know if a lot of people, but some people were saying that the Chicago Bears could have waited just a little bit instead of signing Nick Foles for some significant money.
Yeah, they could have done that. Also, the Redskins could have waited instead of trading a 5th-round pick to get Kyle Allen. They could have saved that 5th-round pick and got the starter.
Yeah. So we'll see where he goes. I mean, I think what team was it? What team was I? The Chargers. There was a video that was leaked of Cam Newton and Tyrod Taylor working out. I think Tyrod Taylor is currently the starter for the Chargers with Phillip Rivers leaving. So
yeah, he's the guy for now.
Yeah, that was a team that when I saw that video, it was like, oh man, that's right. The Chargers have Tyrod, but they probably will get somebody else. I don't think they're in total rebuild mode right now, so they'll probably sign a stopgap. And so that'd be kind of cool to see Cam go to LA, ball out there. I don't know.
Yeah, West Coast Cam.
Yeah.
I saw also there's an article. I think there's speculating maybe he'd be a good fit in Jacksonville.
Ooh.
Which, sure. That'd be fun. I will say that there's I don't know, was it his Instagram or his Twitter or something? He put out a video of him doing some workout and whatever, saying it is all black and white, and he's they gave up on me and whatever. And it's like, man, Cam Newton's fucking jacked.
Yeah, he's ripped. And he's also like 6'2" or 6'1" or whatever. So he's a giant man, and also he's shredded.
Yeah, he looks like he should be playing like linebacker or something. But no, he's playing quarterback, so.
Yeah, so that's cool. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see exactly what becomes of him, just because a lot of people are looking at his performance, and it's possible that his performance did just drop off due to injuries and his playing style being a little bit too physical for the body to handle over the 9 years he played in Carolina. But I mean, if there's anything left at all, I mean, you have to think that he's a much better stopgap than some of these other people. Kyle Allen, Nick Foles, Case Keenum. We're looking at some of these dudes that are getting deals at places, and I don't know. He played terribly last year. It was not a pretty thing, but I mean, people were going into the season with the idea that he was going to come back. I'm not totally sure what happened with his injury to his shoulder, how that impacted things, or what the severity of it is now at this point in time. But I mean, people were going into last season. I distinctly remember from a fantasy football perspective, a lot of people were targeting Cam Newton because he was coming off a season where he didn't perform very well because of an injury, but a lot of people speculated that he was going to be back. And down the stretch of that last season before the acute injury, he was playing at a very high level, and then obviously entered 2019 season, played really bad, and then sat out with a mysterious injury for an indefinite amount of time, and then he was just kind of done. Like, it just kind of ended. Kyle Allen was the heir apparent.
It's Teddy Bridgewater, but yeah, I don't know where he goes, man. But you're definitely right. He's definitely better than the quarterbacks in place. So like even the Patriots, it doesn't seem like. Just my gut says no. It doesn't seem like a fit to go up to New England, but yeah, he's better than Jarrett Stidham, I'm sure, and Brian Hoyer. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. So, yeah, that is interesting. I didn't think about that. That'd be, Cam Newton and the Patriots. We'll see, but yeah, that's something that I think I'll be watching to see where he goes. You're right, there is a little bit of fantasy news across the board. Let's see. I'm looking at a chart right now to see.
Noteworthy name, Xavier Rhodes signs a 1-year deal with the Colts. That's our favorite Rhodes Open guy going down to fresh start in 1-year proof deal down in Indy. That's noteworthy. I'm not. I don't think we need to pontificate on that, but
nope. Well, speaking of Indy, though, the Packers signed a wide receiver. They signed Devin Funchess.
Oh, yes, they did. That is news since last week.
I don't think I ever. Did you see any contract details?
No, I did not.
All right.
Deal.
Wait, what? What did you say?
2-year deal, I think.
2-year deal. Well, let me go
Not
to
a lot of money. Spot Track.
Yeah, Spot Track.
Also, minor Packers news. They did re-sign midseason pickup Tyler Ervin today, which I like it.
I like that too. I think that there wasn't quite enough time to really implement him into different parts of the game plan, but he performed really well as a returner, and I think there were options there to use him as a kind of like a Swiss Army, not a Swiss Army knife player, but a gadget player, and because of his speed. And I think that it'd have been cool to see him. There were opportunities and there were chances that the Packers took to try, I think, to implement him into some of those things later down in the back half of the season there. Like, we saw him involved in things like jet sweeps, saw him in a couple of toss plays, I think, outside runs, but nothing really substantial. Like, these plays happened a couple times a game, maybe. Some people speculated that he was going to get involved a little bit more so that it could provide the Packers with an X factor due to the fact that their offense was just not. With the lack of receivers, our offense at times last year looked like total garbage.
Having him out there as a wrinkle just to put something on film, something to game plan against. I don't suspect going into year 2 bringing him back. It's going to be a full. He's going to be a major component in the offense, but to work him in a little more and take advantage of the athleticism and explosiveness he has with the ball, to set him up in return-like situations whilst on offense. Just try to maximize the potential or maximize the talent that they have on the roster, and I'm all for it, getting them a few more touches. Yeah, it's cool. Glad he's coming back. We got and if nothing else, at the very least, we have a positive. We had a good guy back there, returning kicks and punts. So
yeah, so Packers pick up a big-bodied receiver. We'll see what happens there. I don't really. It's tough to speculate on what exactly that'll bring because Devin Funchess went out for most of the season last year with a broken collarbone, so we didn't see much of him in action. But I mean, he was signed to be, originally a specific component that was going to work in tandem with T.Y. Hilton, while Andrew Luck was still planning to play with the Indianapolis Colts. He was signed for pretty big money in Indianapolis, so I think that obviously it didn't come to fruition because he got hurt so early, but I think he was supposed to be more of a tandem receiver and veteran component to pair with people like Paris Campbell and Zach Pascal, who were coming on to the Colts as newer people. So I think that it'll be interesting to see what we have in him, at least, because I think that there's a lot of other dudes on our receiving core, and none of them are really guys that have NFL experience except for what they've done with the Packers. So all the dudes that we have a bunch of dudes, but they're relatively young dudes, and the only experience they've had is, this. So bringing another guy who isn't necessarily a whole lot older, but he does have significant NFL experience. So having at least that in the room, I think, will be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a low risk signing at a high upside, and if you get him, you pair him with a draft pick or something. I think I'd feel much better about the receiver situation going into next year. But we'll see.
Yeah. So I don't know. Interesting little tidbit here. I didn't realize that your boy Peyton Barber got traded to the Redskins.
Yeah, I saw that.
Or he signed by the Redskins. Sorry, not traded.
Yeah, minor back end of the roster fantasy news there.
Well, it is kind of impactful in that it seems like the Buccaneers are going in on Ronald Jones there. So,
and this is kind of a continuation of the conversation we had last week about the running back situation in Tampa, where I didn't feel great about Peyton Barber, Ronald Jones, but if Ronald Jones is the guy, so be it. You're gonna have to roster another running back. I don't know if there's even another one on the well, they got Dare Ogunbowale.
Oh yeah,
your two-headed Russian attack, Ronald Jones and Dare.
Here we go. It's just like the 2015 Badgers, Corey Clement and Dare Ogunbowale.
Mm-hmm. Wait, is Corey Clement on that team now?
No, I'm just saying, like.
Oh, Ronald Jones is Corey Clement in this situation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Correct.
Well, hey, if we know something about Tom Brady, he likes having a Wisconsin running back as your pass catching guy on third down.
There you go. Yeah, he knows exactly how to use them.
We got James White Jr. down there.
You're right. Could be a little bit of some fantasy insight there for you guys listening. Some insider info. Don't sleep on Dare.
Tom Brady loves his Wisconsin running backs, even though I think probably James White's probably the only one he's ever played with.
Yeah, I think so too. Really like James White though. So, yeah, not a whole lot of free agency stuff going on right now, and I think it's tough with this whole coronavirus thing for people to, aside from the folks that before this probably happened, like before free agency even opened, like these guys were all having conversations, I'm sure, with these teams on the back end. And so it's tough for people to, like, we might not see, like, what we were talking about earlier, Cam Newton. Like, how is anybody going to come in and, like, evaluate Cam Newton? Nobody's going to do that.
Yeah, if you can't do a physical, you're not going to probably be willing to pull the trigger. On a big name like that. Speaking of physicals, Michael Brockers, that was an interesting story. Did you hear about this one?
No.
So he had signed a deal with $30 million deal with Baltimore March 16th. He has failed a physical over an ankle issue, and now he's going back, signing a similar deal to stay with the Rams.
Oh.
So not going to Baltimore, staying in L.A.
Whoops.
Pass rusher Michael Brockers. So.
Well.
So that's an 11-day delay between that, between the initial signing and the physical. I imagine that would have been taken care of much more swiftly any other year.
Oh, did you see Greg Zuerlein sign with the Cowboys?
Yeah, him and Dontari Poe, that happened late today. So Greg the Leg.
Yeah, one of the top-rated kickers in the NFL. One of the most reliable ones in recent memory. He signed a 3-year deal with Dallas. So that's of note. Who did they have? Who did they have before?
Dallas?
Yeah.
Was it Kai Forbath?
They had a young dude,
Dan
didn't
Bailey.
they? No, not Dan Bailey. Not him.
Well, was Kai Forbath also the Vikings?
I think he was Brett Maher.
Oh, yeah.
I think
thought he was
Kai
good.
Forbath did play at some point, but Brett Maher was...
Yeah.
I don't know. He plays for the Jets now, I guess.
Oh. Jets had all sorts of kicker problems last year.
Man, what the... Anyway. Yeah. So...
And I think we were talking about this last week a little bit. Ndamukong Suh, he resigned and he's staying in Tampa as part of that that vaunted run defense.
Man.
So watch out, Buccaneers. They're staying stacked on the D line.
Yeah, man. It was kind of surprising to see, but I mean, he must think that there's something special happening there. And I mean, they were top rated, like we were saying. They were very good, so it's very possible that that's just it. But it's, yeah, I don't know. I guess looking at these dudes, I mean, just going down this depth chart here, we got Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, who was a first-round pick in 2018. Devin White at linebacker, he was also a first-round pick, but in 2019. Levante David, Shaq Barrett.
Led the NFL in sacks.
Yeah. Oh, we got a 3-sack Jack Sitchie. Well, no wonder Ndamukong Suh re-signed there.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, man. I'm just looking at this depth chart. Fourth on the running back position here. We got this guy, this joker, Aka Cedric Ware.
Cedric Ware. I know that name.
Do ya?
Boy, I think so. Nope, don't know it. Oh, Aka Cedric. I see.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I didn't realize that Aka was part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they got TJ Logan. Well, there you go.
Problem solved there. Yeah.
17th,
So.
5th round. All right, now we're doing our favorite segment, just read a roster. Actually, speaking of, this ties in kind of nicely back to the Cam Newton conversation. I saw a tweet from somebody, and it was the 2012 Auburn roster, and it's like, man, look how good Cam Newton was, because it was Cam Newton and then a bunch of guys. It's like, I don't know any of these dudes. And they won. They went 12-0 and won a national title.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. So on a related note to that, they were talking about on PMT, they were griping about how the Panthers never got Cam Newton any weapons at all, and he worked his magic out of nothing. And when they were reading off some of those things, it was kind of, yeah, I don't know, there's some water to this argument, but I was also, I was thinking to myself, So Kelvin Benjamin, he was good his first and second year, right? He obviously fell off a cliff, but he was good at one point, and he was drafted in like the first round of. He was drafted the same year Jameis Winston was drafted, right? Or the year before, maybe. Out of Florida State.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I thought he was good initially, and then fell off. I don't know if he just have first round shine on him. I don't know. And everybody assumed he was good, and then he fell off after he went to Buffalo and so on and so forth. But
well, here we go. His first year in 2014, he had a 1,008 receiving yards, 9 touchdowns, played all the games. 73 receptions. Pretty good. I think that's fine. And then he didn't play the next year because he tore his ACL. And then in 2016, he had 941 yards. His yardage totals were erratic and never again broke 100. Nevertheless, leading the team. And Greg Olsen, that's right.
Yeah,
Greg Olsen was also on the team. He was a little older, but he was still doing stuff. Greg Olsen. Here we go.
What year did they go to the goddamn Super Bowl?
Was it 2015?
Oh, yeah, it was 2015. I'm poking around for all these years, and I can't find it.
Holy shit. Greg Olsen, oh my goodness. 2014, 2015, and 2016, he had over 1,000 receiving yards. So that's not a receiver, but he certainly was catching some balls.
Yeah, I don't remember why, but when they were reading off those names of the receivers they had on that Super Bowl team, like so they go 15-1, and it's like, man, I thought that offense was unstoppable, and then it's like, well,
now hold on a minute.
Roster, Jesus Christ, come on, Wikipedia. Final roster, here we go. So Cam Newton, we know him. Jonathan Stewart in the backfield, that's pretty good.
Yep.
And then had him with Cameron Artis-Payne of the XFL and Fozzie Whitaker. All right, all good. But yeah, these receivers are really something here. Brenton Burson, Corey Brown, Jericho Cotchery, Devin Funchess, his rookie year, I think. Yep, his rookie year. Ted Ginn Jr. and Kevin Norwood. So, all right, so yeah, rookie Devin. So you don't even have Kelvin Benjamin yet. Jesus.
Ooh.
Okay, Ed Dixon, Greg Olsen. Yes, receiving core not doing it for me. And that offense was so good that year somehow.
Yeah,
Without,
somehow.
a true number one. Ted Ginn has had a really solid career, but he's not. I don't want him as my number one receiver.
Yeah, I mean, Ted Ginn, what did he do that year? I mean,
ran fast.
I mean, yeah. Let me see here, Carolina. Yeah, I guess he didn't really do anything.
So he wasn't even good that year?
He had 2015, he had 739 receiving yards.
Yeah.
But he also did, let's see here. Did punt returns, rushed. Yeah, I don't know. 739 leaves a little to be desired, but I don't know, man. I'm like let's look here. Greg Olsen obviously did a lot of the legwork there. He had an over 1,000-yard season. I'm trying to see here. I mean, the Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams tandem, I mean, that alone that's pretty cool.
Well, D'Angelo Williams isn't on this team, though, in 2015.
Oh, he wasn't?
No.
Never mind.
But still.
Mike Tolbert. That's the other guy that was on there.
Bowling ball. I know who's on defense in the secondary, patrolling the back end. Benet Ben-Wickery.
Oh, our boy.
And also
Josh Norman.
Yeah, Josh Norman in his prime. mostly him, and Luke Kuechly in his prime.
K'Wan Short, Star Lutulay.
And Jared Allen on his last leg. So yeah, I don't know. That 2015 Panthers team was interesting.
Thomas Davis.
Still getting it done.
Yeah, I think he was still playing at a pretty high level then. Yeah,
Wisconsin.
You're right.
Brad Nortman.
That's right. So, yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree mostly that it was certainly because of his vaunted status as MVP. And that's why he won MVP, was because he was doing what he was doing with the cast and crew that he was handed. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, for one, I look at, this is a really biased opinion because this is the Packers, but we look at what the Packers were doing this past season. I don't know who the second leading receiver ended up being. I think it ended up being Alan Lazard or somebody. I don't think it was Aaron Jones. But yeah, I mean, the second leading receiver had like 500 yards or something. It was some paltry number that was not very good at all. And I'm not sure what Davante Adams ended up with last season. Let me do a quick check here.
But no matter what, it's a far cry from
997, and he played in 12 games.
Yeah.
So we did not have a 1,000-yard receiver last year, and I mean, it kind of goes to show that you can make do. We hated every minute of it. Like, we constantly complained about it all the time, but obviously we found a way to win games.
Yeah, and part of the problem, I think, for us, for me at least, is I can remember 2011, 2010, 2012, back in those days when you could go 5 deep at receiver and you were pretty damn good.
Yeah.
We had James Jones, Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, a young Randall Cobb, Jermichael Finley.
Yeah. A lot of weapons. Too many weapons.
Cedric Benson.
Aka Cedric.
Eddie Lacy. Skinny Eddie.
Fast Eddie.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Eddie Lacy, side tangent here. I think I found the China food restaurant he went to.
Yeah, did you go there? You're not supposed to be going places, Sam.
Well, this is like a month ago.
Okay.
This is pre-corona. I don't know. I don't know if it's the one he went to, but it was a Chinese restaurant. I was like, man, this is really
good. Just off of that.
Yeah. Actually, I was thinking about like just DMing Eddie, like, yo, where's your China food spot in Green Bay?
Hey, man, I live in Green Bay. Oh, shoot. I just see here. I mean, we talked. So this isn't related to football at all. So you mentioned that Drum Corps was canceled this summer. Just saw that Lighthouse Brigade was canceled.
Oh. That's still going on?
Well, it just got canceled.
Well,
so.
I mean, it otherwise was.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, good for them. But also bad because you're not doing it. But that's probably not surprising.
No. But anyway, yeah, all these things got canceled recently. A lot of important summer things like Drum Corps, and WGI was canceled previous to that because they obviously were about to have finals. So they had to cancel that because this was right when things were starting to hit the fan here. This week also in Corona news, it came up that the United States is now we have the highest number of cases in the world.
Top of the polls.
Yeah, that's great. We also have a brand new stimulus package coming out to folks at some point. That bill is I don't know if I had the news that the president actually signed the bill quite yet.
I got that push notification earlier this evening that it was signed.
Great.
Per Yahoo Finance.
$2 trillion. It's a lot of money.
Hey,
So
what's the deal with there was that joker? I saw some article yesterday about some Republican from Kentucky that was like thinking about making I don't know. He was gonna make them all show up to vote instead of do it the other way, where they didn't actually have to physically show up and vote. They could do it somewhat remotely or something. And Trump just kind of excoriated him for that, for being a fucking idiot, which seemed appropriate. Did you hear about any of that?
yeah, I tried to do some research on it, but it was like very brief, and I didn't do enough reading on what exactly it was. But yeah, he was the representative from Kentucky who was trying to force the in-person vote instead of the voice vote. And
yep.
And I read like a little bit of an article on what was going on, and I'm sure that maybe things the dust is possibly, because I was reading about it right when this like was happening. It was like it came out right after the voice vote passed unanimously in the House of Representatives, and then this whole news thing came out because all these representatives were flying back in because they were possibly going to have to make an appearance in the actual chamber. And so yeah, that was going on. So I was trying to read some things about it, and I'm not totally sure. It was really odd because the only things that I could get in defense of this guy were there were a couple of representatives who were defending him because the president sort of lashed out at him and said that this person was like a third-rate representative, and then a couple of other people came to his defense saying that he was just trying to uphold the principles of the Constitution. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what we're trying to uphold. I don't know what exactly we're infringing on by not having a bunch of people get together in a crowded room and vote because in the name of the Constitution. I don't know what that's doing. I don't know what we're preserving by doing that. But I'm sure there's something out there. Yeah, right. There's probably a more legitimate reason than that, because that sounds like absolute insanity. But it's possible that there's not. So I haven't read enough to make an actual declaration on what I think about that. There's been a lot of stuff in the news and strained topics, specifically with the stimulus bill, that I was paying attention to, and it's all kind of, I don't know, there's a lot of negativity associated with everything that's going on in the pandemic, and it kind of aggravates a lot of things happening in the government. So I haven't really been doing a great job of following a lot of things, because it's just like, oh, I turn on the news and it's somebody yelling at somebody. Fantastic. That's good.
Yeah, the only thing I saw was the vote didn't pass a couple times earlier this week, and everybody was yelling at everybody about it, and just peak dysfunction. The optics just came across as peak dysfunctionality amidst a worldwide pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with this whole thing.
Stimulus checks.
Right, stimulus checks coming in the mail. That'll be fun.
That direct deposit.
Yeah, son.
Actually, it's kind of nice to get it's like a double tax refund this year.
Yeah. You know, with no sort of with no consideration for what this may impose in the future by taking this $2 trillion IOU out of the bank here. Just kind of, all right, we'll do this, and then we'll see what happens after this whole thing's done, because we kind of need to do this right now.
In 6 months, it'll be, hey, can we get some of that back?
Hey, can you guys put some of that money into the economy? And I'll say no, and I'll throw it in my savings account.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Actually, to take it back to the top of the show, I'm going to spend $10 of it and get NCAA 2005 from a guy on eBay.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I should save most of that, but odds are I'll get that check and, well. Looks like old Connor boy here might be getting some new things.
What's on my Amazon wish list?
Bup, boop, boop, boop. I honestly might spend some of it on, depending on what exactly, because so I've been working from home here, and my desk setup, like you were mentioning earlier, is total garbage compared to my work setup at my office. So I don't have a lot to complain about because, like, I have a monitor, like a big monitor that they were able to lend me through work, and I don't even have to use my personal computer because they lent me a laptop that it's not the greatest laptop, but I just don't want to be using my own devices for work, really. So looking at this, though, and like working at this desk for a number of hours, it kind of lets me learn a little bit here that if I'm planning on doing this for when I go back to school in the fall, like I might want something a little bit nicer to work from. Granted, if I have to spend way more hours like perusing documents or looking at a computer screen for a lot longer with a lot more at stake than what I do at work. So it's interesting with this because it kind of this is what I'd be doing anyway for if I'm going to school. Obviously, I wouldn't have like an office when I'm going to school, so I have my own stuff at home. So I don't know. I was thinking about putting some of that money towards that, but it's tough right now because it's like, well, what I'd really like right now is just a bigger desk, but I can't just like throw a bigger desk in my room. Like, can I just get like one huge desk?
Like a desk.
Yeah, kind of. It's like right now it's the main thing that I'm learning is not the best right now is my desk. It fits very nice into this little cubby, this little indent in my wall with the window here. It's like the perfect fit almost, but I just like don't have any room for anything on here.
But it ain't enough.
It ain't kinda. And like you were saying, my chair is just I need to just invest in a nice fucking chair. Because I realize that makes all the difference in doing work. If you have a nice chair, you're good to go. If you have a shitty chair, you're not going to get anything done at all.
Yeah, my problem is I think my chair is actually like decent. It's just that my monitor setup is way too low at home. I have like a little 24-inch TV. I use for my second monitor and just a laptop sitting on my desk. And I'm like hunched over, like looking down at all this stuff, and it's not great. But,
not great for the back.
I fashioned a makeshift L desk because I just have I don't know how wide is this thing. A not very wide desk, enough for the laptop and the monitor and a couple other things. But I wanted an L desk, so I fashioned a makeshift one out of my ironing board.
Yeah.
So that's the other half of my desk. I put other things on there and write on it, and also iron my whitey tighties while I'm waiting for files to download. I don't do that.
Nice. Oh, man. Yeah, well, an L desk is something that's actually something that I've considered doing, like trying to fashion a makeshift one, but I just don't know how I know how I'd do it, but it would just take up an egregious amount of space in my room. So, anyway, that's what's going on in our lives. I don't know. There isn't really a whole lot to update folks on. There were stricter. There was a measure passed by our governor this week. I think it was this week. It's really tough to say with these days, but it was pretty much it for those of you that aren't aware of this, you should be aware of this if you're listening to this, most likely. But it's pretty much that you're you should be staying at home all the time. You really shouldn't be going out for anything. If you need to go out, it's only for food. And so with that in place, it's kind of, I don't know. I kind of have been telling myself that I was becoming a little bit more of a homebody in these last couple of years anyway, and that this wouldn't be a big deal. But I think it's like the psychological thing of when somebody tells you that you can't have something, you immediately want it.
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what I want to do. I absolutely want to go out more now because I can't.
Yeah. Like, realistically, looking at, like, my lifestyle now, it's not, like, all that much different from, like, my regular when pre-corona lifestyle. Go to work, come home, go to the gym, come home again, maybe do something, maybe play video games, maybe go to bed, probably go to bed, and do the same thing the next day, Monday through Friday. And I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing right now, but with nobody, but nobody can do anything. I can't hang out with anybody. So that's, I don't know. I think right now what's getting to folks is not having any sort of, like, as these things, like, for me, it was seeing that drum corps is getting canceled, and, like, Summerfest got pushed back to September. Like, these things that are happening further and further down the line are starting to get canceled or postponed. And to a degree, some of these things need to be canceled well in advance here in March. But seeing some of these things that are happening in the summertime that aren't happening now, it's kind of this looming thing that is sort of tough to grapple with.
Yeah, just the timeline being pushed further and further out is to return to normalcy here is, yeah, I don't know, not encouraging, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. I was going to talk to, at some point, this got on my mind today. So they don't even know necessarily when NFL football is going to start. Obviously, with all of this happening, you can't necessarily gather a bunch of people together for training camp and hole them all up in a facility if this is still a crazy viral infection that's happening. But I was like, oh well, so if that doesn't happen, we don't do Tundra Line.
Oh. Huh. Yeah, that's a good point. That if this extends into June, when auditions usually are, would certainly be on the chopping block, I would think, or be postponed. But hadn't thought about that.
I'm sure nobody's thought about that except for right now.
Yeah. I know one person who hasn't thought at all about any of this, but well, I was interested in a broader NFL context. I think there's some rumors going on that basically OTAs are probably just not going to happen in May and June. Mini camp, any of that stuff. I think hearing somebody talk about it, some insider, and they're hoping, well, ideally it'd be nice to be I think a reasonable goal, hopefully, to just open training camp on time. Take that as a win at the end of July.
Yes.
Which, if that doesn't happen, then bigger problems.
Yeah.
But hey, did you see baseball? They're trying to play. I don't know what the deal was today, but they made some agreement that they're trying to either truncate the season, or I think they're actually trying to push for squeezing all 162 games in yet.
Yeah, I saw that they were trying to push all the games in still, and so that's great. Winter ball.
And playing to December.
Yeah. Ugh. Can't imagine what that's like, hitting a fucking baseball in the dead of winter.
Even like if you get in the postseason in October, October, only the World Series could extend into November a little bit, but it gets cold, man.
Yeah. I mean, I distinctly remember when the Brewers were still in contention well into the playoffs there, and it was kind of like going out to a bar, and it's like, oh, I got to put on a jacket and go out, and it's like, these dudes are playing baseball out in this weather. This is cold.
For the Brewers, I mean, they're playing in Milwaukee to get the roof, which I'm sure helps.
Yeah.
I guess I'm more thinking about like the Cubs a couple years ago. They do not have a roof.
Yeah.
They're playing in the World Series against, Cleveland. Not exactly a warm weather city in its own right, but
that's true. I guess we're really thinking of this as an insular subject here. There are many other places in the United States that are much warmer at various points of the year. So this isn't. I just for some reason didn't even think about that up until right now. There are many other places.
Degrees. Yeah, the Dodgers. For the Dodgers, it's going to be 70 degrees no matter what.
Yeah, or Miami, or Arizona, or
goddamn cheating Houston Astros.
The goddamn Houston. Yeah, the
rootinest, tootinest, Houstonist.
Stealing the signs.
There's some video I saw some kid playing like MLB The Show and just like beating the shit out of Astros players. Just like every batter hit him.
What if though? Like, what if you just that's what it comes to?
Well, that's already kind of what was happening in spring training. Like they were far and away the leading spring training ball and hit by pitches.
Yeah. But I mean, if like just every single person without discrimination, like regardless if you were involved in the 2017 or whatever team.
Yeah, I tell you, they always say it's the name on the front of the jersey, not the back of the jersey.
Exactly. So just beaming all these dudes like directly in the chest until your bullpen's all just ejected.
Yeah. Out of here. You got position player. Yeah, you get guys on the end of there, not even pitchers, but just your bench players.
Just throwing these slow balls and hitting the batters still.
Not even really just hurting them. Just come on, what are you doing?
Oh, they throw it to the catcher, and then the catcher whiffs on the throw back to the mound and hits the player in the back of in their back.
Whoops, sorry.
Oh, jeez.
Or and then when he's walking to first, he gets tripped by the catcher.
Yeah, or the catcher keeps trying to frame the pitches, but punching the dude in the balls.
Oh, whoops! Sorry, that was
trying to frame that one inside.
Zone. Just trying to fool the umpire.
Oh man!
Oh
yeah.
shit! You know what movie I watched the other day? This is unrelated to any of this. I watched Space Jam.
Oh yeah.
That movie holds up pretty well. Especially now, it's like, because the Monstars come and steal all their talents. It's like, and they're gonna cancel NBA games. It's like, not entirely different.
That's kind of like what's happening now.
Yeah, they're not. But instead of the coronavirus stealing their talents, they're stealing all the fans.
They're stealing the health and well-being.
Yeah, potentially people's lives. But there's some jokes in there that I missed, like. I don't know. I didn't watch that for the first time until like a couple of years ago. But there's some jokes in there I didn't catch.
Like what?
When it's like it's Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck are walking through Michael Jordan's house and they're saying, "Oh man, you know what we should do? We should rename the team the Ducks." And it's like, what kind of a Mickey Mouse team name is that? And it's like, well, that's funny because this is in the '90s, right when Mighty Ducks came out from Disney.
Ah.
I get it.
It's a little joke.
And there's a part where they're playing the game where, I don't know, Yosemite Sam and somebody else, and I don't know what the fuck they did, but they did something that cut to him, and it's the song from the beginning of Pulp Fiction, and they're both wearing black suits and have guns. It's like, it's Pulp Fiction reference.
Oh, man. I know exactly what scene you're talking about, and that didn't click for me until right now.
Yeah, I had never understood that until it's happening. Like, I just figured, this is probably some Looney Tunes thing. where they wear a suit and they have these guns. I don't know these characters that well. But then it's like, is the song that made it click? It's like, oh, that's what that is. There's probably more like 90s stuff that I didn't catch because I was very, very young in whatever year that was, 1994. Actually, I wasn't born yet.
Now that all these movies like this and Hercules that have Danny DeVito in them, I have a completely new...
Yeah, I didn't know Danny DeVito was the voice of the guy in Space Jam.
Yeah.
Until the movie starts, I'm like, wait a minute. I know this voice. It's the Trash Man.
Yeah. It's really funny going back and listening. Like, he has roles in like a lot of movies like this.
Well,
and
what does he do in Hercules?
He's the what is it? The centaur guy, Phil.
Oh, the guy with the beard? Is the patchy beard?
He's the guy that's with Hercules like the whole movie.
Yeah, one of his, like the little guy.
Yeah.
I can picture him.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah.
Huh. Didn't know he was in that either.
Yeah, he's in that movie. Yeah, so it's interesting because I actually just watched the quarantine episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia this week. After you sent me, I think the clip of Frank becoming pure.
I just want to be pure.
I finally started watching the newer ones past season 12. I watched the one with Mindy Kaling.
Oh, she's in a couple of those at the beginning of that season. Season 13.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I felt about that first episode.
It's like I didn't really understand who she was or what her whole thing was, why she was there.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that they had the teasers for season 13 and they had the doll, the Dennis Reynolds sex doll,
right,
as a teaser because he was filming AP Bio, and so everybody thought that he was not, and he left at the end of the last season.
But he was very much in it, right?
Yeah, he was at the very end of the episode. He was definitely there. And
then I think
that was
for the rest
that.
of the season, he kind of is in the show.
Oh, okay. So
I think I watched a couple episodes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very different. It just, I don't know. It was kind of. I watched that one, and I think the next one, the second episode.
Is that the one where they're in the escape room?
Yes.
That one was weird. It feels like the couple episodes I watched from that season, it was like this is like somebody not from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia was like trying to do an impression of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's exactly what I was thinking when I was watching it.
Like, this is it, but it's something's off. Yeah.
I don't know. It might I might change tunes on it when I get a little bit more into it, but it's just because I watched those first 12 seasons just so much. I watched so many times those episodes at various points that I became so familiar. This is what It's Always Sunny is, and it's very possible that it's evolved beyond that because the first episodes came out a long time ago. So the humor might just not be the exact same, but I don't know, man. There's just so many iconic episodes in there that I still reference, and these first couple were, I don't know.
I did kind of like in that the escape room episode the silliness where, the head cow is always grazing. Whatever that whole thing was.
Yeah.
And they're just knocking on the table or whatever. What I don't remember what the whole premise was, why they were doing. They're negotiating something, some clue, right?
Yeah.
And it was this stuff, and they spent all that time over the one thing, and that was just the first step in many.
Yeah. So he's talking to the girl who's explaining what the escape room is. So this is like a sexual thing. No, not at all. Oh, so I ask you for hints and I promise dinner in return, and then it becomes a sexual thing. Yeah. But anyway, I might try to revisit some of that tonight. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think that's about it. There's not a whole lot going on.
Not much. We got esports and iNASCAR. That's about it.
Hell yeah. So,
Hyped.
yeah, check back with us next week. There might be bigger news. Follow us on our social channels.
Hit up Connor's Twitch.
Hit up my
his
Twitch.
Mixer.
Hit up both of them. I have advertisements for definitely the experts on both those channels. Everything is linked. Everything is one. We are all one. So when Sam buys an Xbox, which he's going to do, we'll start streaming on there.
Yep.
All right. Catch us next week when we're streaming.
Yep. Bye.